Levi, welcome to New York Comic Con 2018. I was going to say San Diego since we were just talking about
it. Total Freudian, not San Diego Comic Con.
We're at New York.
New York Comic Con.
And you're no stranger to the convention scene, obviously,
No.
with Nerd HQ. I love the Nerd HQ stuff that you
Thanks,
guys would
man.
always do. Big fan of it. How are you feeling at this con? What do you think of it?
I feel great. I'd only ever been in New York Comic Con one time, kind of in conjunction with Nerd HQ. We did what we called a nerd outpost as opposed to Nerd HQ. We did a little, like a booth area on the floor, on the main floor, and we did, that was like back in, when was that, 2013 or something?
Wow.
And we did photos for charity, for Op Smile, and some signing and stuff like that. And it was lovely, but I was doing a Broadway show at the time, and I didn't really get a chance to go through any of the floor, nor did I do any proper signing or, anything in the autograph hall. So this is really kind of my first experience at New York Comic Con, and I think ReedPop puts on a great event.
Absolutely.
And the last couple of days, I've been down in the autograph hall, meeting a lot of fans, doing signings, doing photos, blasting my music like I do. I was just trying to curate an experience for everybody, and it's been lovely. And the fans here, I love fans in general.
Sure.
And I love meeting the different types of fans, different energies of fans all over the country and the world. And New York, East Coast fans are fantastic.
You're a great representative for this community, especially with Nerd HQ and what you do. And when you got cast as Shazam, oh man, that was great. That was mind blown. And you look amazing in that suit.
Thanks,
right?
man.
That trailer looked great.
Thanks.
Talk to me. How difficult is it to play that childlike Billy Batson as a grown man with all these powers?
Well, as a man-child, it's kind of second nature. It's actually quite fun to be able to tap into that. I mean, I've always been a pretty, exuberant, gregarious. I'm trying to think of other words I don't know the definition to. Person, I've always been a bit of a Peter Pan. I love fun. I love curating fun. I like experiencing fun. And always been a little, led by my emotions here and there, as teens are wont to do. So it was very, it was like kind of riding a bike in a lot of ways. However, I'm also, a 38-year-old man and have lived some life, and we tend to, operate very cerebrally the older we get. And so I found myself in a lot of moments, breaking down a scene or the character and go, okay, what would Billy be thinking or doing? And then I started overthinking things, and I thought to myself, well, Billy wouldn't be overthinking this by any stretch. So that was kind of one of the biggest challenges of it. And then obviously, being in the gym 6 days a week and eating 4,000 calories a day, which is probably one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life. You don't realize. I mean, by the way, it's easy to eat 4,000 calories if you're eating cake and ice cream.
Sure, yeah.
But if you're eating like plain chicken and broccoli and, all of the things that are just not the most, exciting things to eat, it's a difficult thing to put all that in.
You just took the fun out of eating 4,000 calories for me.
Yeah.
So there goes that. I do have to ask about this, though, because this Billy Batson, it seems like it's more reminiscent of the New 52 version that we've been seeing.
100%.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure about that with the Wizard Shazam. Talk to me about the tone on set, because I thought to myself, man, if this is just big as a superhero movie, nailed it. And then you see that trailer, and you're like, nailed it.
Yeah, it's the movie Big meets the movie Superman. I mean, that's basically what it is. And the tone on set was a lot of fun. I mean, it was difficult. We were shooting in Toronto through the wintertime, and the movie is like 75% exterior nights. So it was cold. It was cold a lot. And the suit doesn't really keep me warm in the cold, and it also didn't keep me cool in the soundstage. Like, we'd be inside, and I'd be overheating, and I'd be outside, and I'd be freezing to death. But those are all very small prices to pay to, get to be a superhero. It was fun. We had a really great group, great cast, great crew. And the story is fantastic. Henry Gayden wrote a great script. David Sandberg is a fantastic director.
I just wanted to I wanted to ask about him for a second, because he's not normally from this superhero world. And on paper, it seems like an odd fit. However, being from that kind of like James Wan type of school, it's working.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a really inspired choice, because anyone you wanted to give that. You need to capture the youth that is just it's literally just infused into the story because it's Billy Batson. He's a 14-year-old kid, and going on the New 52, he's with a whole collection of other foster kids as well. So you need to be able to still find that, tap into that, and allow for that on screen. And, there's going to be a lot of heart and levity when you have a 14-year-old, an adult playing a 14-year-old. But you need to balance that with the grit and with the kind of danger and the stakes. And I think that David Sandberg, coming from the horror world with Lights Out and with Annabelle Creation, was a really inspired choice. And he and our DP Maxime, who's this like super awesome Italian dude, they were painting frames. Like, they're going back and looking at the monitors. They really were, I think, creating very artistically designed shots to kind of balance all of the, kind of bit of zaniness that comes from an adult playing a 14-year-old.
Now, talk to me about Billy's kind of like idolization of Superman to an extent, because Superman's in this world, and I know that Billy's always kind of looked up to him. Do we get any glimmers of that in this film?
Well, so in the New 52, Billy's actually not a fan of Superman. He doesn't really know. Freddie Freeman is the big superhero fanatic, and he is a fan of Superman and Batman and Aquaman and Wonder Woman. Because, yes, the world of Shazam exists like squarely in the middle of the DC universe. All of the movies that we've seen in the real world were basically like documentaries in their world. All of these things really happened. Justice League really happened. So Freddie is gaga about this stuff. Billy has been on this journey trying to find his parents his whole life, and has just never really given any credence to any of that stuff. So when Billy becomes, me essentially becomes Shazam, he has no idea what is going on. So Freddie kind of gets to be his Obi-Wan, his Yoda, his mentor, and guide through all of it, which leads to a lot of fun. Jack Grazier and I had just a fantastic time with all of the let's say the learning montage, the learning sequence. I think people will really enjoy that.
How much time did you spend with your younger counterpart kind of getting mannerisms down?
Unfortunately, not that much.
Really?
But Asher and I did get some time, and he was shooting Andy Mack, this Disney show that he's been doing. He was still working on it when we were doing rehearsals during January. So we had gotten a few rehearsals together and some table reads, and got just to kind of get to know each other a little bit. Fortunately, we're similar-ish. Like, both of us love singing and dancing. We're both that kind of kid, because I am a kid. And then, but then beyond that, it was really just trusting David Sandberg. It was just, saying, hey, man, you're watching me and you're watching him, so give us the notes we need to get in order to marry those performances. So we'll see.
I love the fact that Mark Strong plays the villain in this.
Dude, Mark Strong is so good.
And I want to talk about that for a second, because talk to me about your relationship with Mark while you're shooting, but also off screen. Anything you learned from him as well?
I mean, he's just such a I don't know. I mean, there's something about the English that's so just collected and so professional, unlike me. He's so talented and professionally trained, and he literally has played so many different types of characters. I mean, the guy is such a chameleon. And I've been a fan of his. I mean, prior to the movie, I remember telling people like, oh, and Mark Strong's playing the villain. Like, Mark Strong, I go, that guy in this movie, and that guy in this movie, and that guy in this movie. And they're like, that's the same guy. I'm like, that's the same guy. He's so good. He can just morph in and out of things. And
I could be Mark Strong right now.
You could be Mark Strong right now. Yes. It's like a Sacha Baron Cohen thing that's going on. But yeah, I mean, and his family was so lovely. They came and visited from London. I hope that we get to do something together again, whether it's in the Shazam world or something else.
Sure.
I was just honored to share screen time with him.
I'm excited to see Shazam, but I have to ask, because we got a lot of tweets about this, to ask you, that we know that Henry Cavill, there's a lot of rumors out there with him in the DCEU, and also him possibly appearing in this film. We don't know if he does or not, but if he did appear in this film, how do you think Shazam's interaction, I should say Captain Marvel, Shazam's interaction would be with him?
Well, I mean, I think it would be I think he'd be kind of geeking out, I'm sure, right? Because that's Superman. I mean, who's arguably the most famous character in that world. But also, I don't know, because I didn't really, again, it's like Freddie's dream to meet him and know him more than it was Billy's. I think Billy would probably be like wanting to arm wrestle him or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Test
like,
his strength.
Who's actually stronger?
Right.
I think that's probably what we'd want to do.
I want to ask about Nerd HQ. Do we have any more events planned at all coming up?
No. So traditionally we were doing it during San Diego Comic-Con. That's where we started it, and that's where I wanted to kind of keep that rolling. But it's a really difficult thing to do. It's a multi-million-dollar event, and needless to say, that's a lot of money to try and wrangle from sponsors and whatnot, and because I started Nerd Machine, which was a for-profit kind of lifestyle brand for nerd culture, and then to promote that brand, I started Nerd HQ, and I wanted it to be kind of a Voltron hub for me and Nerdist and Geek and Sundry and everybody else. That's what I wanted Nerd HQ to be. But then after I started it, they all kind of did their own thing, and I was like, well, that's fine. I mean, we were kind of rolling along, but it wasn't really working as a for-profit event. I made no profit from it. I lost profit, which I was happy to do because it made so many people happy. And more than anything, I just want to invest in other people's happiness. I like bringing joy to the world. I like bringing smiles to people's faces. I like people. I want to do things that allow, particularly these fans, to be seen and heard and acknowledged, because we only get to do these things that we do because they support us in that, and I think it's very important to foster those relationships. But what we were successful at was bringing joy to people, creating conversations between talent and fans in a really intimate and curated way, and also raised a ton of money for Operation Smile, to the tune of like $2.5 million or something like that. So
that's amazing.
In the last year, I've shuttered Nerd HQ as a for-profit company. I am reinstating it as a complete nonprofit. And then once that's all done, the dream is to then do Nerd HQ events at mini conventions. Hopefully here at New York Comic Con. Reed Pop and I have discussed some of that, and I think once all the ink is dried on the new paperwork, we can try and get that to go.
Well, this is a great place for it. I mean, a great place for it, man. You do so much for this community, and thank you for it. And also, one thing that I actually love that you did as well is that you responded to a lot of haters out there that were bashing the costume, and I thought the costume looked great.
Thanks.
And I thought you looked great in it, and especially when you see it in the trailer and you see it in motion, it just looks amazing. It looks exactly how you kind of want something to look. It lives up to that for me.
Thanks, man.
And I have to ask, couldn't have been comfortable though, right?
No, well, it's a little claustrophobic. I mean, it's like it's a super. It's really tight. It's really tight. You become one with the outfit. I think the first time I put it on, I was like, this is unbelievable wish fulfillment, and the kid in me was so giddy. And then immediately after that, I started feeling a little bit of claustrophobia, just like starting to kick in. But in that moment, I was like, Zach, you're going to have to wear this thing many times, God willing. And you got, find that inner peace and become one with it. And I did. It eventually just kind of becomes second, like a second skin. The most difficult thing about it is just like, going to the bathroom. I needed handlers to unzip my crotchal area to go number one. And if I wanted to take a number two, I had to take the entire suit off, which is a pain in the butt because it takes like 10 minutes to put that thing on again. So I think only one time during the entire shoot could I not hold it. It was one time I was like, I got to get this off. It has to come off right now. It wasn't like explosive diarrhea, but it was something that was coming up. I could feel the gurgling. It's like, this is not good. But every other day, I was able to kind of keep it all together. And then as soon as the day was over, suits off, and then into the bathroom.
I know you have a busy day, so I'm going to try to make these next two super quick.
Yep.
I want to see you face off with The Rock just as much as the next person.
Yep, absolutely.
We know that's inevitably going to happen with him and Black Adam. Do we possibly get any hints at Black Adam and Shazam? And I'm sure you can't say a ton, but
I don't know.
Wink once?
I don't know what you're talking
All
about.
right. Second question I have is my buddy behind the camera here. Him and his best friend are the biggest Chuck fan. So
I
this
can
is,
see he's wearing a Nerd Herd shirt.
well, let me. So first of all, his best friend actually is having a son, and he's naming him Charles Zachary after
What?
you. That's a true story. And secondly,
Dude, I'm super honored about that. That's amazing.
And secondly, he has a question. So his question is, do you think, in your opinion, that Sarah got her memory back after the kiss?
First of all, you're awesome. Tell your friend he's super awesome, and I'm beyond honored that they're naming their child after Chuck and me. I don't even know. I'm gobsmacked. Then beyond that, to answer your question, or your question rather, 100% Sarah got her memory back. I mean, I can't. If she didn't, the show was such a happy-go-lucky, like, it always worked out in the end. For us to not have it work out in the end of the series, I'll murder someone if Sarah didn't get her memory back. I'll go track somebody down and say, you die, because that's not, that's just not fair. It's not fair to the audience. It's not fair to us. I mean, I worked so hard at that relationship for 5 years that she would love me back. And then she did love me back. And then the Intersect robbed her of all that. But look, my goal is still to try and convince Warner Brothers to let me make a Chuck movie. At least one day. And so we'd hopefully be able to, tie all that up and at least give people some peace at night that are worrying about her losing her memory.
Well, he was one. I hear it from him every time we come to these conventions. So there you go. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure,
Amazing.
man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.